Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. So in this lecture, we're gonna see how to handle errors and exceptions. So in the previous lecture, I would have told you about the errors and exceptions and how to handle them. Like in the syntax error, I would have told you to type in the proper syntax, and for an indentation error, I would have told you to leave a space or an indent wherever necessary, but I wouldn't have told you the solution for the zero division error because it doesn't have a solution, but it can be done in a different manner. Like for example, let me take an example which is a equal to 2 and b equal to 0, and let me just print that up, which is a by b, and if you just check the output, it's gonna return the zero division error. Whenever I divide by 0, I don't want this to give me a traceback. Instead, it should continue with the program. I want it to print the statement specified by me instead of giving rise to this traceback. So how to avoid this traceback? Even though it gives me an error, I don't want this to return me a traceback. So how to solve this? So this is where the exception handling plays an important role. So now let me just tell you what is exception handling. So first give it try and followed by a colon. So this actually works like an if-else statement. Now first I've given the try, and now I'm going to print the code, which is a equal to 0 or else a equal to 2 and b equal to 0, and I'm going to print a by b. So that's it. Now moving on to the next, which is the except, and now I'm going to give zero division error. So we know that whenever you divide by 0, it's going to return me a zero division error. So how to avoid it? So if it returns me a zero division error, I don't want to get a traceback. Instead, I want this piece of statement to get displayed over there, which is there is an error. So whenever it returns a zero division error, this piece of statement displays over there, which is there is an error. Now moving on to the next, which is finally. So what this finally actually does is, whatever you type inside this, it's gonna return in the output panel. So let me type continue with the following code. Okay, now let's check the output, and there you go, it returns there is an error. So did you notice that it didn't return any kind of traceback over here? So this is how this try, except, and finally works. So if you want to try something, like if you don't know whether it returns an error or not, just bring it under the try part, and now if you know that it's gonna give me an error, so in this part I know that it's gonna give me an error, which is a zero division error, and but I don't want my execution to stop. Instead, it should carry on. So if you know that it's going to give me a traceback, but I don't want that traceback to get displayed over there. Instead, I want my piece of statement to get displayed. So that piece of statement, you type it over here, and finally is whether the code gives an error or not, this piece of code always gets printed up. So this is about the exception handling. So that's it for this lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.